Hello, everybody. It's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. For those of you that tried to join me live today, well, technology was not on my side. This happens from time to time. So today's live is actually going to be pre-recorded for you. So, guys, I have two fantastic cards to share with you. We're going to be featuring the Flashcard 2.0 series, and I've got two silhouette cards. These are going to be amazing. Let's go get started. All right, my friends, here we go with today's flashcards. So we're creating some really fun silhouette cards using some basic black cardstock. Really simple. I've got some Stampin' Blend techniques to share with you. These are amazing cards. And you guys, what's so great about a Flashcard 2.0 is all you need are two Flashcard 2.0 pieces. And by the way, if you do not know what a flashcard is, I'm going to put the link right up there in the corner so you can watch that video. But the idea is we create 8 equal pieces, and we're going to use those pieces and a card base and nothing else. So these are great pieces to have on hand, and when you need a quick card, you can create one in a flash. My card base is a basic white thick. That is a 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Flashcard 2.0 pieces, your colored cardstock, mine today of course is in basic black, is a 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. My basic white is, ready, 5 3/8 by 2. So you can see we can layer those, but we're going to be able to do some really fun things with these. So let's get started with our first card, and that is this really sweet die cut butterfly card. Now what's nice with this is the butterfly does stay attached. I've got some really fun techniques, and to start things off, we are going to color some ribbon. We kind of need to start with that because this ribbon might need a little bit of drying time. So I will bring in just some scratch paper, and I will be using, this is the, oh, I've got to look this up. This is the pink, petal pink and white diagonal ribbon. Now I'm going to need about 8 inches or so. That looks about right. And I'm going to be using my dark pumpkin pie because even though this is a beautiful color, for my card, you can see we kind of need that little bit deeper pumpkin pie color. And Stampin' Blends are amazing for coloring ribbon. Watch this. We're going to go from petal pink to pumpkin pie, just like that. By the way, you don't want to use the tip of your Stampin' Blend. You want to use the side, and I'm using the thick tip, okay? We're going to flip it over. We'll get the other side. And like I said, the Stampin' Blends, because it's got that alcohol based, it will dry fairly quickly, but I like to give it some drying time, so we're going to always start with that. All right. I'm going to set my ribbon over here, and now let's get to work on our butterfly. All right, so as I said, we're going to start just here with the basic black. We got to do some trimming this down, right, as you can see. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to make 2 cuts. I'm going to make a 1-inch cut. This is right here for my sentiment, so I'll hold on to that. This piece I actually need to cut down to 4 inches, so I'm just cutting a 1/2 inch off, and that is scrap. So this is what we're going to work with. I'm actually using 2 die sets today, all right? So this one here is called Happy Little Things. We're going to be using that to create just some fun little backgrounds. But this one, this is where our butterfly comes from. And this one is called Thanks and Beyond. By the way, I do love this thanks. But we're going to start with this butterfly. And as I said, what's kind of nice with this is that the butterfly is going to stay attached. But the first thing we want to do is we want to actually create that banner. And here's one of my quick and easy ways to create a banner. Give yourself a cut, probably about 3/4 of an inch or so. You don't need to measure, but just cut up the middle of your cardstock. Grab your scissors and get them right on that corner and cut up. Do that here on the other side. Here we go. And boom, you've got a banner. Now I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine. Actually, I'm going to use my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So we're going to take plate 1 and cutting plate 2. I'm going to lay my butterfly, and I want it to be, I mean, there's no right or wrong. My ribbon's going to be going up here, so I'm kind of down near the bottom. Get that centered up. We'll add another plate 2, and we're going to run that through the machine. Before I pull this out, I'm just going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, and you can use the Take Your Pick brush as well, but there's going to be some little pieces in there, so I'm going to go ahead and take the piercer and just punch all of those out. There you can really see how it stays attached. All right, I'm going to actually set this off to the side for a minute, and let's bring in that little piece of the basic black. Let's do some heat embossing. So I'm going to bring in my Embossing Additions toolkit. I'm going to hit that with the embossing buddy. I'm going to bring in a Versamark pad. Oh, my stamp set today is so sincere. I'm going to use this on all the cards. It's a fantastic set. You've got sentiments for everything. So for this one, we're going to do a Feel Better card. You know, it's a butterfly. Let me find my stamp. Hope you're feeling better soon. I'm going to ink that up in the Versamark. I will stamp that there on my basic black. Your Embossing Additions toolkit has these great reverse tweezers that I just love. Now I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder. By the way, if you watch any of my reels, I have to tell you, I was shooting the reel today, and I had the embossing powder on there, and I flicked it, and embossing powder went everywhere. So if you watch the reel, watch for the flying embossing powder. It's kind of funny. All right, let me move this off to the side. And if you have any, what we call embossing boogers, you've got your little brush, you can brush that away. I am now going to bring in my heat tool. I'm going to let this heat up for about 20-30 seconds. And now I'm ready to heat emboss. So I'm just going to hold that. I'm probably about 3 inches away from the image. Can you see? It's going to start to melt the embossing powder. So even though it looks kind of dull right now, when I'm done, it's going to be nice and shiny and bright white. Can you see it starting to melt? And there you go. So you know it's all melted when there's nothing dull left on it and everything's nice and shiny. All right, I'm going to set this off to the side, and now we're going to work with our basic white cardstock. Now for this one, we need to do 2 different things. So we need to create this little background, and we need to create this little banner. So we are going to bring back in, this would be the happy little things. We're going to take this longer banner, and we're just going to take it. I'm just going to do a quick die cut here, and we've got our banner. Now I need to take what's remaining, and I need to trim it down to this will be a 1 3/4 by 2 inches. So here's my 2 inches. So I'm going to trim this down to 1 3/4. And now we're ready to create some really great, we're going to do a little ombre with our butterfly. My ribbon's good and dry, so I can move that. And this time we're going to bring in Pumpkin Pie and Daffodil Delight. So here's what we're going to do. You want your 2 inches here at the top, all right? And I'm going to start with the dark, and I want you to kind of picture this in 4 sections. So with my dark, there's section 1, and now I'm going to take the dark Daffodil Delight, and there's section 4. Now what I'll do is I'll come in, I'm going to bring in the light Daffodil Delight. There's section 3, and see how I can kind of blend those together. Perfection, don't even worry about it. Not an issue today. And here's my light Pumpkin Pie. All right. Now I'm going to kind of blend these colors together right here in the middle. Okay, don't worry about even getting to the edges. It's not going to show. But do you see how we get that really nice ombre? And if you need to blend anymore, you just kind of come and blend. Actually, I think that looks really good. What do you guys think? I think we've got it. And let me kind of show you what we're going to get. See how we can adhere that back there? And I think I want a little bit more of the pumpkin pie to show, but look, oops. Well, you know what? It is not a big deal. We will trim that away. You just don't need to stress over it, okay? None of this will show. There we go, all right? So like I said, perfection not in our vocabulary today. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to adhere this onto the back. And you know what? I think I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue for this. And you want to avoid the actual butterfly wings because we want those to pop. So I'll just put a little glue just like that. We'll add that right there. Okay, so you can see how we're getting that really great ombre look. All right, friends, let's go ahead. Since our ribbon's dry and we're working on this piece, we're going to go ahead and keep going. I'm going to take this ribbon. I'm going to cut it in half. I will take one piece and I'm going to adhere it across the top. Add that part of our ribbon. Now with this piece that's remaining, we are just going to tie it. Do you see how we took that petal pink and we made it match our butterfly? I love using my Stampin Blends on ribbon. Ugh, okay, let's trim that away. Friends, since we have that done, and honestly, you know what? We're ready to put our card together. So I will grab my card base. Now, if you want, you could add these with dimensionals, or you can add it with multi-purpose glue or your Stampin' Seal, whatever works best for you. And I think, you know what, my glue is here. Let's go for it. And that will go right along that edge. Let's bring in our little banner. And now we can bring our sentiment. By the way, you know how I use that embossing buddy on there? It leaves some white powder. I usually use like a little microfiber cloth to clean that away. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to put a little adhesive right there. I want to make sure the pretty side is up. Now we're going to bring in Stampin' Dimensionals. About 3 should do it. And we'll add this right down here. Let's do some magic to this butterfly. I've got a really fun little technique. I have got some baker's twine. And I'm going to trim, I don't know, what is that? 1.25 inches. Again, it does not matter. But this is going to create her little antennae. And we take a mini glue dot and we're going to put it right there. I'm going to take my baker's twine. I'm going to fold it in half and I'm going to add it right there. If it's a little long, don't worry. We can always trim it down. And then for the center, these beautiful neutral adhesive back sequins are awesome. So I'm going to start with a larger one and it's going to cover up that mini glue dot. See, it kind of hides that. Let's do another large one. And now we'll do a couple of the smaller ones. And isn't that beautiful? And this copper color, I thought just really tied in so nice with the pumpkin pie that we were using there, right? Now for the inside of the card, we can do a little bit more stamping. So we've got a sentiment here, "You're in my hearts and prayers," which is great for a get well card. And so just a little memento black, stamp that in the middle of our card, and we can write our message. And there you go, friends. Like I said, if this is a little long for you, we can always come in and trim it down. Fun card, right? Okay, let's move on to our second card. I've got more techniques to share with you. So this one, we are going to be using the Thoughtful Wishes dies. And I liked this one here. It had some little flowers on it. I thought it worked great. Our cardstock is exactly the same, all right? So there's our basic white, our basic black. I have one little extra thing here, and that's some adhesive sheet, because when we cut out our silhouette, but you open up your card, we're going to go ahead and use that. I'm not going to let that go to waste. So we're going to bring in a 2x4 piece of adhesive sheet. All right, so before we get started with this card, we need to work with our Stampin' Blends. I'm actually just going to use the dark, and I've got some baker's twine. I'm going to want about, maybe 10 inches. We're going to be tying this in a bow. And I'm going to color it the same way. Actually, what I like to do is I'm going to lay my Stampin' Blend, and I'm just going to run. I'm not pressing down on the tip at all. But can you see how we're just going to kind of color that? You could also run this across your stamp pad. That works too, by the way, with baker's twine. And we will just get this colored because just like before, we want this to have a little drying time. Don't worry about the ends because we're going to be tying this in a bow, so we will be trimming that away. I'm going to let that dry. We need to do just a little bit of cutting here to our basic black. Very simple. We're going to cut off 3/4 of an inch. All right, we're actually going to be using that, so I'm going to set that off to the side. And now this is where our die is going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in that adhesive sheet, and we will peel this away very carefully. Peel off the back. You'll see which side has the adhesive on it. When you adhere this to your card, or to the cardstock, kind of keep it up here at the top. By the way, this cardstock's 2 1/8 and my adhesive sheet is 2 inches, so you get a little wiggle room there. Now, what I want to do is make sure this is towards the top, okay? We're going to be cutting a banner here, but I do want to do my die cutting first. So just like this, let's run this through our die cutting machine. We'll pull this out. There is our adhesive backed image there for the inside of our card. Just very gently take it out. There we go. All right, so that's going to make it really easy to adhere that down. Now we're ready to create that banner, because now that I have it cut, I can see I don't want to go too far. So it's just going to really be determined on where your die cut landed. So that's why we kind of keep it there towards the top. Now we're going to do a little work on our basic white. So for this one, we need to cut off 1/2 inch off the long side. All right, 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 3/4 of an inch. That is going to be used to create our happy birthday. Now with what's remaining, I'm going to cut it down to 3 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to bring in that scratch paper again, and we're going to do a little blending with a Granny Apple Green and a blending brush. Now this is going to be for this background, all right? You're going to love this. So I'm going to kind of get some of the darker part off, and we're just going to blend. You can decide how dark you want this to be. Because I'm using Melon Mambo, I think I'm going to go a little dark, make it kind of bold. And friends, you're going to love this. We're going to take the adhesive sheet that's already on the back of our little banner here. I'm going to pull this away. And what that's going to allow me to do, you're going to love it. And we're going to cover up. Do you see how I did that? Perfect. All right. I'm going to actually just kind of bring in my grid paper because there's a little adhesive on that. Now we're going to come in with a dark Melon Mambo Stampin' Blend, and I will simply color in the flowers here. And you know, it's great because this is on black, so if it spills over at all, you're not going to see it. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so I'm ready to bring in my card base, and you know, I honestly think I've got enough adhesive right there. Let's add this to our card. Again, I'm just lining it up there at the top. I'm going to bring in a Melon Mambo ink pad. Let's do a little stamping. Again, these two stamps that I'm going to use, they are both also from that So Sincere. So I'm going to take my happy birthday, and this is that little edge that we cut off. And now on the inside of my card, hope your day is a happy one. And since we've got our card open, our great little adhesive backed silhouette here. Oh, friends, this card can be made so fast. right there to the inside of the card. And now we're going to take our happy birthday. And remember that little piece of black? Well, we're going to just add a little dot of glue or adhesive. I'm going to center my happy birthday right there. We'll add Stampin' Dimensionals to that, and let's add that to our card. All right, now our baker's twine, it's dry. So I'm going to create 2 loops. I'm going to tie my loops together, trim off the excess. Back in with the mini glue dots. I'm going to roll it in a tiny little ball. I'm going to add it just above my happy birthday banner. Friends, there we go. Isn't it great? I'm going to go ahead and bring in my first card. So it is such an easy way. And all we did was use just those 2 little pieces of cardstock. And now it's time for you to create. So get out those Flashcard 2.0, create some fun silhouette cards today. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And thank you for those of you who came back from the live that the live that went wrong, I think is what we'll call that. Anyway, friends, if you enjoyed the video, would you give me a thumbs up on YouTube, or just because you feel sorry for me because my live went so wonky? And if you haven't subscribed, take a moment to click the subscribe button, ring the bell. YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with a new video. Thank you, my friends. Can't wait to stamp with you next time. Bye-bye.